Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Office Hours. We had four topics we were going to talk about today, but wanted to give you guys a little bit of preference. Alex, anything?
Well, this might not be related to the topics. I don't know if I should bring it up here.
Go for it. Let's find out.
Well, we're going to be switching ISPs soon, so I was like, is there a procedure for how
Yes,
we? Okay.
very relevant. Nope, we can talk about that. So we'll go through some of the back end stuff. There's a whole bunch of deployment things. John, maybe we can just give them a little bit of where we have to configure stuff inside of Titan for deploy. A lot of that stuff happens kind of outside of Titan, but happy to go into a little bit of logistics of what's going on behind the scenes. I don't think we somewhat a little infographic of all the stuff that has to change. Yeah.
Yeah, it might be just some logistical things because if the site is hosted with us, then their ISP changing only really impacts
DNS.
DNS potentially. If you guys host your own DNS, most people don't.
Yeah. All right. So we'll go through a kind of a checklist of some of the things to look out for that we can recall. And actually you can contact your AD for a more thorough. We have internal checklists that you have to go through, and then you can go through and like as John said, some of them might not apply at all, but at least you can go through from top to bottom of the 30 things that you got to pay attention to if you're moving around, stuff like that. Lori, do you have any topics at all that you want to cover today?
Yeah, actually, I did. I thought I submitted feedback, but I would be interested in best practices on how to kind of control our file.
Yeah.
Like once we've used it and now we're not using it anymore, like just how do you recommend that we kind of keep everything clean and fresh and up to date in our folders?
Got it. Okay. And John, maybe that's where we'll pop open. We'll see. Hopefully your share will work, but pop open the Northwoods instance. There's more stuff over there. So get a better sense for how things are organized. And Linda, you had asked some questions about, what was it? Oh, the deployment schedules or what we do. So
I've got a couple other topics too, Patrick.
Oh, awesome. The deployment schedule, let's just touch on that real quick at the beginning. And then that one we have to punt offline because it's going to be very specific to MCW.
Right.
But, yeah, the typical deployment schedule for 98% of our clients is, morning, 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock in the morning. We also try to do our code pushes so they're non-disruptive, so that there should be no downtime. That's the general goal, especially if they're minor updates. It should just be a flip and everybody, maybe for 5 minutes has to get out and just relog in. At worst, at best, it should be no disruption at all. Are you finding that there's some disruptions when you get a code push?
Yes.
Okay.
Sometimes.
Okay. Yeah. And so the deal, yeah. So our general code pushes for everybody's sake is typically in the morning. And the reason for that is so that we have the full team available during office hours in case something goes wrong, that we can respond. If we do it late in the afternoon, it can be more convenient to your schedule. Totally get that, and can respect that. But then we have to have people on standby in the evenings in the event that something goes wrong, and it can disrupt, violin concerts and basketball games for everybody. So we generally try to avoid that.
Okay, because we have been pushing later, and then I got an email from Dana, who is fantastic, by the way, and saying that there was a new way you guys were doing that and blah, blah, blah. And it was like, whoa, I didn't know that was coming. So we have a lot of people that we have to communicate to about that change. And we continue doing that. But it's good to know that the majority of your clients are going between 10 and 11.
Yeah, in the morning, early afternoon at the latest. And yeah, the new procedure is something we didn't share with our clients because frankly, it's 95% internal stuff. But we wanted, to your point, we wanted better quality control. We wanted more testing upfront on our end. And so we put some more vigorous processes in on our end. We had long discussions and got feedback from all of our account directors and developers. And one at a time, we've been rolling this out to people. And yes, if it caught you off guard, apologize for that.
Yeah,
it's meant to be more robust, more bugs before they go out with better testing. We've got two kind of substantively better, improved testing protocols for how we're going through regression testing and unit testing with all our stuff. That's part of the reason for the process change. And along with that, then getting everybody ready so that when we are going to do a code push, again, hopefully, if we do this well on our end, it's non-disruptive and nothing breaks, and we don't, because as you know, there's 5,000 moving parts inside there. And so if you guys made a little tweak on some page and we make some tweaks, et cetera, and somebody forgot to check the code in, we want to catch that before we push it out. And that's kind of a full review before we go out. And so then on day of deploy, we do all that and then try to get it going and then have people on standby. So that's the general procedure. Now, if you need to make an exception, and this is for any client, so everybody that's listening, any client that has special needs, we absolutely cannot have anything deployed during the day, then, we'll figure out a way to accommodate that. All right, John, the first question we did have was from Lori on organizing files and folders. You want to take over the share and let's see how that goes?
All right, let's see what we got here. Should be this one. All right. Share. Did it do it? Oh, here, I got to click this button. There we go.
There we go.
So,
oh, yeah.
Is that better with what you were thinking, Patrick?
Yep. Yes, exactly.
So one of the things that we wanted to at least cover with respect to keeping your file pile organized, or, if you're obsoleting content because a site's going away and you want to know, oh, I got all these images, blah, blah, blah. Where's this stuff used in my environment? Can I clean it up? That's the type of thing that this presentation is meant to illustrate. Here I'm looking at a file pile that we called Titan CMS, and we're looking at the where used view. The where used view in Titan is created from an index. We run a background process to scrub through all the places we can think of in the system, and we look for files that are in your file pile. Now, your file pile might be similar to ours, where it's got a dozen or so folders. Have more, could have just one, right? You got one site, you have one folder for your files. The intent of the background job is you could specify a specific folder to analyze or a series of folders to analyze, and it'll take all the URLs of files in that and look in all the places in Titan and try to count up all the spots where things are used. So in this presentation, we're seeing there's a looks like an image of some kind is used in a data site in this field. Oh, okay. Well, if that's I could go then and edit that page to see.
We got a little thumbnail there, so I can kind of see that image over on the side there.
Yep. Yep. Or here's an example of an About Us JPEG that's used in 6 places in blocks. So where is that? Well, there looks like the About Us page and the Contact Us page. Oh man, there's a whole bunch of spots where this image is in use in content. I probably should make sure I either, make sure those pages are still valid and working, or, if I need to get rid of this, maybe I have to replace it with something else. The thing that ends up kind of coming up, I think, more often than not in this presentation is you'll see some of these lines have nothing in them. Like here, this 5 ways to clean up whatever this image is doesn't appear to be used anywhere. Okay, well, maybe that's an opportunity for one I can get rid of. Or this accessibility checker image, not sure what that is. I'd have to probably, look over here in the content tab to see. Okay, looks like a screenshot. Okay, well, that's not being used. Maybe I can delete that.
What is the certainty that how do you know it's not being used? So you're saying you took and looked for that file name and in the blocks, anywhere in blocks, anywhere in might have been in a teaser text and properties. It might have been in one of the fields in the data node. Yep. Or
could have been somebody created a nav item that links straight to a PDF or something, right?
Okay. And what is other?
Other encompasses a bunch of different places, mostly in Titan admin. So let's say you've got a logo graphic, right? And you hooked it up in Titan admin under a site. Well, that field in Titan admin would have been counted up if it saw that path, and it would have been understood as other.
Okay, so you look for the file name accessibility checker, every possible place you could think of where somebody might have linked to an image or embedded an image. Yep. And you're 98% sure that 99% or 100% sure that it's not being used?
I would say 99.5.
All right, there we go. So there you have it.
Pretty sure. we even are checking places like the content library. Let's say you have a free form that you really like, it's got some imagery and stuff in it, and you put it up in your content library so you can paste it other places. We even look there. So I think we look at things like filter blocks. Hey, I've got a filter block and it's picked this folder as a source for listing out files. Oh,
Right.
okay. Let me see if my file that I care about would be potentially in that list. And we do things, and we check a lot of different places. So,
Okay.
but anyway, that's just one way as far as doing cleanup. I think the other side of the question.
So how do I get rid of that? How do I get rid of that? No, accessibility checker.
Well, you would go to the actions button and hit delete.
All right, let's do that. I'm feeling lucky.
Oh, okay. Well,
Right.
you always got the upside of when you delete something in content, it's just putting it in the recycle bin.
Okay.
So if something comes up and you get a call from somebody, hey, somebody deleted my image, what's going on? Oh, hold on 1 second, that was me. It's in the recycle bin. I'll put it back where I found it, and we'll get you back in action. And
Okay.
and
And then
then
months from now or whatever, if nobody whines or complains, then we can empty out the recycle bin.
right, exactly.
Okay.
Now, John, you just said it's 99.5% sure. Well, I'm 99.5% sure at the time the index ran, that was true. So it could have been something that's changed over time. It's not running on an automated basis. If you need to do this type of cleanup, I always encourage people, yep, run it when you're about to do a bunch of cleanup. And just do it on 1 or 2 folders that you're going to focus on, and then and then next week or tomorrow or whenever you're doing it again, then run your index again so you got the latest and greatest information.
So this little view over here is only as good as the last time it ran that scan, because I assume the scan takes a long time to run.
Right. It can take a very long time, especially if you've got a huge file pile like this, or if you're searching for all the items in a large set of folders, right? Let's say I picked the root of the Titan CMS file pile. Well, there's going to be a lot of stuff under there. Well, let's see. 267 items. That's actually not that many. I've seen some of our clients with thousands or tens of thousands of items in a folder. So it can get pretty cumbersome, depending, but that's why the task lets you narrow in the focus on a folder or 2, or maybe just one root.
Okay. And in order to see the last time this where used view was run, I go to Titan admin, and some people might not have access to this, but the where used is one of these folders. Yeah, there it is. It's called rebuild where used. And you can see that it was run on 3/8/25. That makes sense. No sense. That's in the future. Oh, next month.
Next time it's going to run automatically. It looks like it's running every 45 days at 4:45 in the morning.
Okay. So if we extrapolate from there, it looks like it probably ran in January sometime. Oh, you can actually look at the history, can't you?
Yep. So I'm not sure. It's possible the last time it ran might have been cleaned up. We've got cleanup jobs that go through and update these log tables so that we don't have a ton of stuff just kind of sitting around in our logs. So it's possible that runtime history for this job was cleaned up recently.
Okay.
So, but
you could kick it off manually right now, right? By going to run status up on the top there.
Yep. From the run status screen, I could say, well, you know what? I want to build it right now. So I'm going to go to actions, start the selected task. Yep. And it'll kick off right away.
And this one, because our site's a little bit smaller, this one probably take maybe 5-10 minutes, maybe.
Maybe.
All right.
But but that's
last run 2/19/25. There it is, right there. Oh, that's right now.
That's right now.
All right.
And here it's in progress. So yeah, it could take a little while. I'm not sure, but anyway, that's the analysis side from the where used perspective. I mean, I think there's probably another aspect to organizing files that maybe just kind of falls into maybe some kind of corporate policies. It's like, well, I mean, I imagine our F drive, right? How many times do we ever like, you know what, we should reorganize this, and everybody's eyes get big and like, no, we shouldn't do that.
I mean, everybody has a different idea. Let's go back to the file pile real quick, because the basic question is, how do you keep stuff organized? Right. And I guess the very first answer is come up with an agreed upon folder structure. Getting to the agreed upon part might be the hard part, but oftentimes what we'll do is we'll draft up internally here at Northwoods. Somebody will, in a Word document, will just kind of make a nested little file organized structure, and in a page or two they can type up how they would best organize the files. Getting everybody to reasonably agree upon that, even if like we might organize them by client name. In fact, a lot of our internal stuff is organized by client. Every once in a while, somebody comes by and wants to organize it by project type. And I can see where that would be useful to maybe 20% of our staff, but the other 80%, it would not be useful to them.
Right.
And so
in terms of files for your website, though, back in the day, we used to always say, "Oh, every site in Titan should have its own file pile." That just makes sense. To a degree, it makes sense, a lot of sense, right? You got a public website, and then you have an extranet or an intranet, and you want all those files, each of them, to be separated and distinct. Okay, yeah, create a folder for each site. Personally, I think it helps more to think of your file assets across the whole enterprise of your web content.
Yeah.
If you got multiple public sites and multiple private sites or whatever, organize, by, what they are, images, right? You're going to share images across all sorts of sites in your environment. You're not going to want to have duplicate copies of those things. Create an images folder and, break that down, make logos, make icons, make, some reasonable categorization of just the imagery. Right?
And you're saying images because the file piles are independent of websites. So even though you just said, create one file pile for each website, it's not a requirement. And in fact, file piles are really just kind of completely separate things that any website that has access to it can organize it.
Right. I mean, we would run into situations where people would get lost and confused because they followed the file pile per site, mentality, right? And all of a sudden their public website has got this image on it that's stored off on their, extranet site or, some other folder for a different site. Oh, how is that? Now it's okay. It's a global system. It manages content for the whole enterprise of web content. So an image stored one place, as long as the security lines up, because Titan does a lot with security as far as, if you have logged in users, can they see this? Can they not see this? Just like we do with pages and security, you can do the same thing with files.
Yeah.
So,
all right. So the question is, what's the best way to organize? The answer is, it's going to depend. Well, here's a couple suggestions. Organize it by image type, like files, and then different types of images, and share them across the enterprise. Or optionally, organize it by one folder for every site over there. Might be another way to organize it. Kind of ask yourself, how good are you at playing chess? Can you see 2 moves ahead? Are you a 3 move ahead, or are you a grandmaster and you can see 15 moves ahead and all the permutations? Because the more you can hold in your head as a webmaster or the person who's going to be inside of here, I think the more efficient you can be on how you organize the files. If you're just a 2-move chess player, then you probably want to go, one file folder per site and just end up with duplicate stuff. But if you can see multidimensional, et cetera, and, get inside the matrix here a little bit, there's ways to be really efficient with how you store stuff and avoid lots of duplication and keep it really organized. So that's another way to think about it.
And you also, and you obviously have to take into account, security requirements, workflow desire, right? If you've got a lot of authors and editors and you don't necessarily want them, maintaining all the files, okay, there's some security business logic that you need to apply to the way you organize also.
All right, let's pause for a second and let Lori offer any thoughts she might have. Is that helpful, useful? What other questions do you have?
Yeah, no, I'm going to for sure start using the where used drop down. I didn't know that existed, so that'll be super helpful.
Yeah. Run the index, make sure it's up to date, because if you don't, and if you're
up there, go on.
Yeah, if you don't have that where used running right now, it's quite possible the job hasn't been kicked off and that view is not empowered on your system. So, but it's there, it's available. The where used is a standard view that we ship with all things, but a lot of people come in here and it'll just be blank because they've never run the indexer. Yeah, and you just ran the accessibility check and it looks like it's not there anymore. So that's number one way to kind of cleaning up. Oftentimes the beginning, getting an organizational structure in place is fine, but then later on it becomes messy. Happens at every file system and every file pile and every instance of every website on the planet, it's going to turn into a mess after a little while. Even if you're the only one in there, it'll still turn into a mess. So it's normal and expected. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just you have to have a discipline to come in here routinely or reorganize stuff. John, I do have a real quick kind of a side question, and I know you know the answer, you might not remember, but it says like the file URL on all these files is Titan-CMS-20211. And
yeah.
there's a reason for that. That was like it was a renaming of something, and we had to pick that extra number in there. So do you remember how does this happen, and how would I, if I wanted to fix all those so they actually said 2021 and got rid of that extra one in there, how would I do that? Not saying we should do it, but I'm just other people might be curious on how you rename stuff here.
Sure. The background story would have been at some point, probably at the time it was created, the name given was Titan CMS, Titan space CMS space 2021.
Yeah.
And then somebody said, "Ooh, wait, I forgot to do this. This is how I want it instead." So they then create another one, and they use the same name. Well, as soon as it used the same name, it put one at the end to keep it unique, so it wouldn't, have done anything. And so then one goes and gets deleted, and the new one is left. That URL for that root folder then becomes the basis for defining the URLs of items created from that point on. So everything downstream would get that same root section to their URL. So how do you change it? The main way to change it is in properties. Now, that just like content pages and files, there's a page URL field that controls that value. But with folders, we don't show it right away. And there's a reason. Ultimately, we don't typically want folders to show up in lists of things. And so there's a configuration setting in Titan admin that keeps folders out of lists, like through the filter block or the TOC block or anything like that. So in order to see the URL and change the URL for a folder item, you have to enable folder linking. And what that does then is it makes it possible and exposes the field for the page URL for that doc ID, which is for the folder. So you can change it and then go back to Titan admin, turn folder linking back off, and then any items created in that folder going forward would have the new structure of URL. Alternatively, and this is probably a little bit easier, you can use advanced search and replace and search through the whole file pile that is in question. And this answers your how could I change it easily, all these existing ones. Advanced search and replace would be able to then locate Titan dash CMS.
It's a little dangerous, but bring that up real quick. And we want to say that do not try this at home, but it is something that is powerful, and that you can also do a lot of damage inside of here if you do this wrong. So with all the proper warnings, we are not going to be shy about showing you this.
Yeah, I'm not shy about it. I don't know that we actually want it changed. That's the
no, we don't. Yeah.
But here's in essence how you would do it. From the advanced search field, which was up in the corner here, you search and replace. You're looking for a specific path, including the slashes, and you're going to search within the page URL field only. And then you have to choose your root, which we were just looking at the Titan CMS folder. And so I should be able to then say, if I wanted to, Titan-CMS-2021 slash, because that's...
Do you have to include HTML tags and attributes?
Include? If no, because we're not searching block content.
Okay, got it.
We're just searching for items with URLs that match. And we've got 231 items where I found the 20211 slash essentially, and I might want to change it to 2021 slash, and it shows you every occurrence. And we only searched through the page URLs, but here we can see all the logos and graphics and everything that are using this one and would change to the other. And if we were committed to it, the nice thing about changing URLs in Titan is we automatically use the old URL as an alias. So in content, in content where people added those images in their free forms, and it was using that old URL. The old URL still works. It's just behind the scenes, it's getting redirected to the new URL. And then going forward, if you were to go and update those images or add images to content elsewhere, it's going to use the most recent URL that we've got, but anybody else that had it isn't going to break. That's kind of the nice thing. But you could easily say then, yeah, I want to do a replace all, and you would hit publish, and there's a background job that runs then and goes and makes that change across all the items.
So if you are going to this, I strongly recommend that you do not do what Jon just did over here with replace all and just go for it. Jon knows what he's doing and is he's a licensed professional. I would go and I would do an advanced search and replace like this with just a couple little things, and then I would go and test the snot out of it to make sure that I didn't break anything and that everything still works. I'd find out where these images are, go to those pages, make sure everything's still coming up, and publish it a few times. And then I would expand my experiment with a few more, and then I would gain some confidence that I had done it. So this is a cleanup opportunity, especially when over time people change their names of how they organize stuff, and they come up with a better way of organizing things, and they want to rename file paths. It might be for SEO purposes. It might be accessibility reasons. There are all sorts of reasons you might want to do this, but we have a very powerful, very, very powerful and very dangerous little utility that's kind of buried in one little corner on purpose over there. And so we're showing you that this is here, and you can do some really, really powerful stuff inside of Titan, renaming things, but do it at your own peril and do it slowly, carefully, methodically. And there, you have been warned.
Yeah, grow your confidence and then go at it.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Any other questions, Lori?
Oh, no, thank you.
All right. Awesome. Let's go back to the next thing we had was give everybody a little sneak peek at the new content library since they're here. Jon, let's kind of go over here. So here is a peek at what's coming probably in the next couple of weeks. We're going to have a release version of Titan available for all of our Total Care clients, and or you can contract us directly for this update. And this is the new version of the content library. And so on any page, we're going to add a new block to this page over here. And here it is. So what we see from left to right is a whole new version of what the content library looks like. The far left, the open content library, is the way you're going to access the full one. We're not going to click that yet. Do you also have underneath here that you're showing all the current bookmarks? So what in the middle, and actually underneath this one over here, are the file blocks that you have, or Jon in this particular case has bookmarked. He said, these are my favorites. And so right for easy and quick access, if you have a dozen or 2 dozen, or frankly as many as you want, you can bookmark them. And we're going to give you a little square for each one of them. These are deliberately squares. They're not showing you the full long thumbnail. Some of these pages might be quite long, and you'll see that when we get into the library, you'll actually see the full size of them. But they're square here on purpose because we assume that if you bookmarked it and you know what's in there, you kind of know what it's looking like, and you just kind of need to see the top of it, and you know what the rest of it you're going to get. And as we go forward and drop some of these onto pages, you're going to see. So if you wanted to use the NWS Digital Block Services block, you can just click right there, and it should add that to the page. And there we got a whole bunch of, looks like it dropped one block, block right in the bottom. So there it is. So it dropped this new block, etc. And if we popped open a preview of this particular page, I should be able to see that block underneath this. The generic content here is.
Oh, I'm not seeing it.
Not seeing it. All right. So we're going to assume that that is a little thing. That's why we haven't released this yet. So, but you'd see that in the preview.
It would also need to make sure that the styles were valid and everything. But the nice thing about it is that's the nice thing about the block copies. You stored it off. It has the styling you want because it came from your environment, and you can drop it in and trust that it's going to work. Now, the thing that Patrick had started, talking about were these bookmarks. One of the aspects of a block copy now is the ability to say what themes it works with. And this filter bookmarks button is intended to switch the presentation here to show either all of your bookmarks or only the ones that apply for the theme that of the page you're currently.
There you go.
And here we can see now I have no items left that I have bookmarked that actually indicate they work with this theme. So that's a nice little piece to have there. It's like, oh, wait, I can't use that here. Oh, okay, I must be in the wrong section. Or maybe I need to go back here and say, nope, this one definitely works with this reflex theme. I should make sure to check that so that so that I can use this filtered view and not see my 100 favorite bookmarks, just the ones that work on the page I'm working on.
So this, going back there, so a block and all the stuff that's on the block has styles, has JavaScript, etc. And that is all, those styles and the CSS references and all of the other technical stuff that's inside of that block is tailored to the theme. The theme anticipates looking for something called, blue, bold, red box. That's the name of a style inside there.
Mm-hmm.
And everyone's going to have a different set of styles. And our themes are embedded with a big collection of them. And then the blocks are matched. So as we build a block, we take advantage of those styles. And because there's an infinite number of styles and themes and JavaScript inserts, we want to make sure that if you're building a vast and eclectic collection of blocks inside of your library, that we know which ones are going to work with which theme. So you're not dropping something on there and then nothing shows up, like just what happened. And so that is the reason why this theme support and matching it to the blocks is going to be an important addition inside the library. Save you some trouble and angst. So now we're showing them all. And as you see on the far right, we also have the system blocks. So that's what you used to see. Those are all still here. All the ones that you previously those are the blank slates that you can do anything with, build whatever. But if you open up the content library, now we see that the tiled view, so if some of these things are longer, you're going to see the full view of the snapshot. That one's a very long one that John's hovering over, the design portfolio. And also, we've added on the far left a folder structure. So you have the ability now to create your own folders, to organize your own sets of block copies any way you want to this folder structure that you can build any way you want. We have by default got global and personal folder names, but that is completely arbitrary. So you are no longer restricted or required to create one called global and personal. We put it in there because that's how people were organizing them previously. You can put global folders into your personal and personal folders into your global because those labels are completely arbitrary. Right. So nothing inside there. So
yeah, in fact, after an upgrade, you won't have any specific folders except for the online library.
Oh, okay. So they're going to have to create those all from scratch.
Yep.
Yeah. That's good. I think that's good. So now you go to library. So if I wanted to create a new folder called Patrick, how would I do that, John?
So what you will see in a brand new instance or recently upgraded instance is you'd see libraries and it'll probably say you haven't created any libraries yet, something to that effect. But you would use these icons here to work with creating a new folder or library category. So Patrick, his favorite items. And it's the best stuff. And this screen lets you gives you the way to link to new external libraries. We've got one that we host in TitanCMS.com. It's the main one that most people would have if they were to click the online library button today. But we had a way to change that in configuration. Well, we also now we will have a way to point at multiple online libraries if you got one that's unique to you, or you point at your dev environment or some other environment, we can set up multiple online folders also. But for Patrick's favorite items, we just go ahead and say done, and here's Patrick's favorite items.
Nothing in there.
Nothing in there yet. So we've got a lot of things that we could put in there, and the way that you do it is you click and you drag it right over Patrick's favorite items, drop it in, and voila.
Cool. So now you can drag and drop and reorganize your blocks in the folders, and you can reorganize them any way you want. Oh, we got two Patricks over there.
Looks like this one was a leftover. Let's move that one down in here too.
All right.
So now this was something, this digital knowledge base data list. Since we dragged the folder in there, everything that was in that folder went along with it. But let's say we want to get rid of it because it's just a duplicate, we can drag that up a level. And, oh, should be there. Oh, there. There we go.
And now that extra folder's gone, and now the extra Patrick down there below, you could delete that.
Yeah. So we could get rid this extra folder. We don't need anymore. We can delete that. This is a fun little nuance. We've got some new acknowledgement here when we have operations that we want people to pay extra close attention to. We make them check the box to say, "Yep, I understand the warning," and then we can delete it.
So that's a little sneak preview. We'll cover this a little bit further in TUG coming up. I think we're having a TUG in a couple months, and we'll go into more. We'll have final details, but actually, we will be releasing this before TUG, making it available to all of our total care clients as we finish our final testing over here. And then we'll probably have a little training video, and then we'll cover it again in TUG as a preview, along with some of the stuff that we're going to do in 7.5.2. So this will be 7.5.1, along with probably about 60 or 70 other little smaller little changes and bug fixes and other stuff like that. All right, so that's just a preview of that. The last topic for today was a little sneak peek at anchor tags. So I'm going to take over the share again, and then I got to do this. Replace the current share. Yes, John, you're getting booted.
Oh,
Let's do this and share that. And all right, let's go back over to a little bit of a dev instance. So one of the most frequently asked questions of we ask our account directors what questions are people asking most often is how to create anchor tags. So we're going to go over that real quick. Hopefully give you a quick thing. So I created a services page just a little while ago. It's got a headline over here, a subhead, 2 heads, 3 heads, and a closing and a footer. Got a typical page. And I want to build an anchor set of anchor tags on the top of this page that just kind of jumps down on the page inside there. So how do I do that? I got all this topic inside here. So number one, the thing that everybody does that is a mistake, not a mistake, it's just, unfortunately, it's not the right sequence, is they highlight this stuff and they say, let's create an anchor over here. And I see anchor tag, and then they go over here and there's nothing in there. Actually, I left one in place. So, but I want subtopic to jump to subhead 1. And so I'm going to go down over here to begin with, and I'm going to place my anchors first. So the first step is either in the front or the back of wherever I'd like it to jump to. I'm going to insert an anchor. So without highlighting anything, all I have is the pointer selected right at the beginning of that thing over there, not highlighting anything. I clicked there, and when I do that, it says you haven't highlighted anything, so you must be wanting to create a name. And so I'm going to call this topic 1. Call it anything you want. The more logical you make it, the easier it is for you to decipher this later on, because these are the tags you're going to be working with. And I'm going to go, and as you can see, it just dropped a little anchor inside there. I'm going to go over here to subhead 2 right at the beginning, and I'm going to do it again, topic 2. And I think it's best not to put spaces in there. It gets a little confusing. I think it actually kind of still works, but it might get messy, or frankly, it might not work. But I would not
try putting a space. I think it might warn you that that's not allowed. No.
No, yeah. All right. Well, we'll do a little experiment, see if it works or not.
There you go.
All right, so I'm going to go up to now subtopic 1 up on the top, and that's the one I want to link and to jump down. So now I can go anchor, and if I choose from there, it's going to scan that page. I'll see it put a little underscore in there.
Yep.
Yeah, it fixed it for you.
Yep.
All right, so I'm going to do topic 1, done, and now that's created an anchor there, and I'm going to go over here, link, anchor, and I'm going to go topic 2, done, and off we go. And now if I hit done, and I don't even think I need to publish. I think I can just preview here on this page. I now have topic 1. And if I click there, it jumps down to topic 1. And I could actually, under topic 1, I could have a return to top. We'll put that in real quick. So there I clicked on the subhead 2. It jumped down to subhead 2. And under both of these, I want to close off the preview. And I'm going to come back in here, and I'm going to have a return to top. And so I'm going to have a return to top. And again, that anchor doesn't exist already yet, but I'm going to put a return to top right at the top of the headline over here. So I could pick where I want it to jump to, but I'm going to put it right at the front. So I'm going to go over there, and I'm going to call it the top. There it is. And so now return to top, come on over here, highlight that, go to anchor and say top, done. And if I hit done over here and preview, we should be able to go jump down to subtopic 1, and now I want to return to top, and boom, it jumps right back up to the top. Now let's do a little trick over here. John, you were showing this before. I want to be able to jump to subhead 1 from a different page altogether.
Yeah.
And so I got to remember a couple things that'll make it a little bit easier, right? So what did I call that?
You called it topic 1. Yeah, if you click in fact, if you click subtopic 1 right now.
Yep.
You can see, oh, I think you clicked 2.
I did.
Yep.
There it
But
is.
now you can see on the address bar, at the end of your URL, it
Oh, look at that.
it'll include the hash sign and then the name of that anchor that you want. It's that
Okay.
hash topic 1 that you want to have available to you, either in your mind or the copy and paste or something like that.
So I just copied and pasted it inside there, subtopic 1. And so now I want to go over to, let's go to the stories page. I'm going to save all the changes over here. You know what? It's probably helpful to publish this too. It'll work better. So yeah, because if it's the preview is not going to jump all over the place, but being able to have that published, putting anchors is non-destructive, so it shouldn't disrupt anything. I'm over on the stories page here, and I want to make a link to topic 1 on the services page. And so I'm going to go topic 1 on the services page, and I'm going to build a link over there. So now I'm going to go over here, and now I can't use this anchor thing anymore because there's no anchors on this current page. This anchor thing only scans the current page for anchors, but
Right.
I can go to an external page, or actually content's a little bit easier, right?
Yep.
All
Yeah,
right.
because let's say you don't know what the URL is for that
Right.
services
Can't remember.
page.
Can't remember.
Yep.
I'm not paying attention. And
Yep.
so now I want to go over, I'm on the stories page. I want to go to the services page. I click over here. I don't see the anchors yet, so we're half done.
Yep.
There's services.
Yep.
But I copied that topic 1 over there.
Right. It won't work as a content link because that's trying to identify an item in the tree.
Got
But you've got all the information you need for an external link right there. So, yep,
Right.
if you copy that and then switch to the external tab and paste it in, now that link is going to be good to go.
All right, so we're done. Let's give it a shot. And so now I'm going to this one. I'm on the stories page, and here's a link to the topic 1 on the services page. So I click over there, boom, drops me over. So I now have dropped the anchor tag over there. So we'll make a little recording of this. We'll chop this out and how to make a anchor tag from both internal within one page and then from within other places of the site, jumping back and forth. A couple little hacks to go back and forth, but it works perfectly well.
Mhm.
And it's not that hard once you get your head around it. So in brief, I'll save this, brief review, and I'm going to publish that. Also over here, I created an anchor first by inserting the cursor in the edit mode, etc. I inserted the cursor wherever I wanted to put an anchor. I clicked on the anchor tag, gave it a name. Once I gave it a name, it dropped an anchor over there. Once I remember that name, or I even have to remember it, I just go over here, highlight something I want to build into an anchor link. And then when I go over anchor, it will show up on that page. Any names that I've given, we're going to show up over here within that page. If I want to link from a different page, I just have to remember what the name of that tag was. So again, going in there and highlighting something will give you a list of all of the anchors that are already on that page. It's called footer, pound footer. That's how you build an anchor. Then I go to the other page where I want to link from. I double click on it, bring up the editor, highlight something I want to turn into an anchor link. 2 steps, and actually it's probably a bunch of different ways. If I actually know the path, I can just type it in directly here.
Right.
But first step is
It might even be one that you've recently done. If you check under the recent.
oh, let's see if I've got over there. Recent. Look at that. Oh, there it is. There's
Yeah.
another. So services. So it remembers that I put the one. There's the one I'm looking for. Exactly. Footer. I had done this previously. So I can highlight that, click done. And now that link has been made. I can bring it up. Let's see what it did. There it is, pound footer. And it's an external link to public services, pound footer.
Yep. The anchoring is a nice feature. We do get a lot of, from time to time, I'm not going to say a lot, but from time to time, people are like, oh, I wish it could see an anchor I created in a block down this same page. And we can't do that We can see the anchors created within the current freeform. Those are the easiest ones to populate the fields with. But if you're keeping track, like Pat said, and aware of your content, it's easy enough to track down where you need those destinations to be, and you can fill them in.
Yep. And if you really need that anchor link, submit it as a change request and enhancement request for Titan, and we'll put it in, see how many votes it gets, and we can queue it up for a future release of Titan, perhaps. Jon just loves big challenges that are big and messy and complex, and making them completely simple for you. All right. Thank you, everybody, for coming today, and look forward to seeing you at our next office hour.